Hi, I'm Linda, and this is Sophist Free in Japan. Sophist Free is a term coined by Chef AJ, whose program I basically follow. It is a whole food, plant-based eating style with no added salt, oil, flour, alcohol, or sugar. Today, in this video, I'm going to talk about the big 5 personality traits. They are used, I think, mostly agreed on by psychologists. It originally started around the 1940s when they started organizing and agreeing on what those 5 personality traits are and the number of them. But I first learned about it from Dr. Doug Lisle, that's Lisle, who has a great video on YouTube, I think posted by Chef AJ. It's about an hour-long video that explains it, and it's a little bit humorous. But I first learned about it from him and what the importance of it is to someone who is adopting a new lifestyle, especially a new eating plan. Because it turns out, he says, there is a certain personality type that is successful. As you may know, it's set up to 90% of people who lose weight on any kind of diet. You know, many things work if you want to lose weight. There's all kinds of ways to lose weight, but about 90% of people after 5 years have regained their weight back. So Dr. Lisle says there's a certain personality where that doesn't happen, or it would be very easy for them to sustain their new lifestyle. And the point is that you won't change your personality, but by being aware of it, you can better know where you might need some help or some support in it. So the big 5 are known by an acronym OCEAN. Some people say canoe, which is, it's the same, just different order of the traits, but I like OCEAN. So the first one is openness to experiences. And these all go on a continuum to something else. So openness goes from openness to closed. The second one is conscientiousness. That's with the C. And the line goes to disorganized. The next one is extroversion, which goes to introversion. The A word, agreeableness and disagreeable. And the 5th one is neuroticism, going to calmness. All right. So openness and closedness, when I did take this test many years ago with Dr. Lisle himself, and you can take these online too for free. And so I've done that several times and generally get the same kind of results, but I do think it depends on what questions they ask and how they ask them, because sometimes I come out a little, different. But when I first encountered this from Dr. Lisle, and he goes, are you open or closed? And I thought I was closed, because I just thought, closed means you don't like new things. You don't like new experiences. And I generally, I want things to be pretty unchanging. But then he looked at me and he goes, you live in Japan, right? And you went there on your own and you didn't speak the language. He goes, that's pretty open. So closeness would be the type of people who are in their hometown and they've never left. They grew up there and they live there now and they're going to die there. They don't like to try new kinds of food, or they don't like to have new experiences and things like that. Some of the tests say that people on the openness level are creative. In the closed, they resist new ideas. So when I take this test, I'm usually on the openness side. And I have most of my life. I love new experiences. I've always loved exploring new cultures and new ways of thinking. So yeah, I'm on the openness. All right. The next category is the conscientiousness to disorganized. Conscientious is people who pay attention to details. They like set schedules. They like preparing things. And disorganized is dislike structure, procrastinates, and maybe has a lot of mess around their house or around their office or whatever. And this one, I scored on the disorganized side, usually. But I am close to the middle because I really like organization. I like to have my place clean and organized. I like to know where things are. I would never leave the dirty dishes in the sink for the longest would be to the next morning. But in contrast, like my mother, sometimes she says she does the dishes when she runs out of clean ones. But I just like things clean and neat. However, I think the reason I fall on the disorganized side is I do not like schedules. I'm not good with schedules. Like a work schedule where you have to start work at 8 or 9, and then you just work and you have a lunch break and then you go home at 5 or whatever. That kind of lifestyle does not appeal to me at all. And I'm not really, I don't think, good with details and things like that. I procrastinate a lot. I procrastinate an awful lot, and that's on the disorganized side. So I do tend towards the disorganized side, but I'm, not too far from the middle. Now, extroversion, this one I've known since I was a kid. I am an introvert. And when I've taken these tests online, I get like 99% out of 100, where 0 is extroverted and 100 is introverted. I get 99%. And I knew this since I was a kid because, for example, when my mother went to the, what do you call them, the parent-teacher meetings at school, the teachers would say things like, Linda is so intelligent. She does so well in school. However, she needs to socialize more. She needs to raise her hand and volunteer for things and stuff like that. And so I grew up with a feeling that was my personality, my natural personality trait was a negative thing, like, almost like a character defect. And I think that is the general kind of feeling in the US, like extroversion means social, means, successful in a way. And another thing is, I think when I was younger, people would say I was shy. And I learned as I got older is that I am not shy. I think that's a different thing than introversion. What happened in my life, this was a life-changing book for me. I read this book. It's called Introvert Power by Laurie Helgoy. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. This book actually changed my life because when I read this, I realized introversion is not a character defect. It's not a bad thing. And it's not that you're unsociable. I mean, you could be, but they don't mean the same thing. And it also does not mean shy. In general, what it means is that introverts get their energy from being alone. We like to be alone, sitting, reading a book or going out for a walk in nature, or, thinking, writing, journaling, things like that. Whereas extroverts like to be around people. They like to go out to the parties, or, they like to socialize and they like to meet different people, and they get energy from that. They feel better when they get home, after socializing. Whereas an introvert is just drained, it just drains someone like me to have to be in parties. And it crosses over to other things like work. When I've worked in an office, I think sometimes I come across as like not cooperative, or, just, I don't know, not the good traits. but it's really introversion. Is I don't like to be around groups of people. You know, if there's, I like people one-on-one, but if we get a third person in there, generally I start losing interest and I start to withdraw because it's just too much energy for me to manage. The other thing with that is like, I don't like talking about small talk. You know, some people get together, they meet a new person, they're like, oh, it's a beautiful day. And they talk about their kids and their work and their, you know, their pets and that kind of thing. I'm just like, oh, it just drains me. So anyway, I've always known that one. I am on the introversion side, way on the introversion side. And I am happy with it now to know what it actually is and what it means. All right, so the next the next one is agreeableness. Now, agreeableness and disagreeable, you would think disagreeable is not something you want to be. Agreeableness means, you know, you help other people, you're interested in other people, you empathetic. And I tend to go on when the line's here, mine is over towards the agreeableness. And the reason for that is I don't like conflict. I avoid conflict, and I've been throughout my life pretty good at conflict resolution for other people, you know, to be that person in the middle that can see both sides and, you know, come to a peaceful kind of decision. And that's a very agreeableness thing. The disagreeable, they don't generally care about others or they're not as interested. One thing about it, though, they tend to be opinionated. And another thing is they're competitive. Sometimes they're manipulative. But a positive thing is these people will tend to look at research and they will analyze the research. They'll say, who sponsored this study? You know, who's writing this study? Are the results valid? So they'd be very particular about that. And I have found through my experience of investigating different lifestyles and ways of eating, that people in the plant-based movement, there is a lot of research which is very scientifically based. And personally, I don't like reading research. I'm not really interested in all that technical scientific language and things, but I'm glad there are people who do like that because they can tell me about it and I can, you know, I can look it up if I want. But people who are on the disagreeable side, they tend to see a bigger picture too. And so a lot of times, you know, they just don't agree with things. They're like, that's not true, or that's, you know, not something I need to be concerned about. And Dr. Lyle points out in his lecture, he says, it's not like we don't want disagreeable people around. He gives the example of if you have a legal case, if you have a need for a lawyer, then he said, you probably want your lawyer to be a bit disagreeable. You don't want your lawyer being empathetic towards the other side and concerned about them. You want that person strong and fighting for you and maybe, you know, being a little disagreeable about it. So I'm sure there's other examples of that too. And the last one is neuroticism. Now this one's interesting to me because I would have put myself over on that side, because neuroticism, it means you don't do well with stress, you're emotionally unstable, or you know, go back and forth with emotions and things like that. You might easily get upset. Whereas on the other end of it, it's calm and stable. When you feel calm and stable, emotionally stable. And I was surprised that my test results showed me on the calm and stable side. But again, I was close to the middle. Now, again, I think it depends on the questions they ask, because in general, I can see this. In general, I feel like life in the world, that generally people take things too seriously. It's just my observation. And I'm sometimes amazed at the things that people get upset over and the conflict, even this huge conflict on, you know, a big scale in society or in the world. I'm like, I don't think we really need to worry about these things as much as people are worrying about them. And so I am like that, but it is true that I do get upset about certain things. I do get upset, like in a personal situation, if I have a relationship with someone, or in a work situation where I feel like I'm not listened to. You know, when people don't listen to me, that gets me very tense and upset. I get easily upset. And I also get upset over things, very stressed over things like financial things when that's a problem. Of course, I don't get upset when it's not a problem. But I mean, that does affect me in a strong way. But again, in general, in life is a lot of things don't bother me that seem to bother other people. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. So I put on a little chart here. The pink is me. The ones, let me see if I can get this good. The ones that I just explained is I'm over here on the openness, over here on disorganized. And see, I put it kind of close to the middle. Introversion, I'm way over here on the edge. I'm the pink, okay, again. Agreeableness, I'm here, which again, kind of in the middle. And calmness is kind of in the middle too. And I guess, I think according to Dr. Lyle's lecture, of course, most people are kind of like, if you have a bell curve, most people are kind of in the middle because, you know, we're not just one way, except on some things, like I said, like me and extroversion, I am over here. I'm on the down, whatever you call it, the downside of the bell curve. So there's probably not as many people in the world that are as introverted as I am, but there are some. So that's wonderful. Love to meet you. And the yellow ones, I put the yellow dots in. Those are the qualities that Dr. Lyle says are good, or he terms it the perfect personality for losing weight, or for not losing weight, but following a new lifestyle, a new eating style, especially that we're talking about. So he says, for example, closed, you want to be closed because then you don't care. You're fine if you eat, you know, brown rice, broccoli, and beans every single day. There's no problem with that. You don't have any of this openness saying, oh, I wonder what this tastes like. Or I wonder if M&M's still taste the same as I remember. You don't have that. You're just like, okay, brown rice, beans, broccoli, I'm good to go. Conscientiousness would be over here because this also has to do with the rules, following the rules. So if you find a program that works for you, or you think it's going to work, or you like, and you follow all the rules that are laid out, then you will succeed and you will stay. You won't be one of those person that goes back, you know, to your old style of eating afterwards. Introversion, he said, you're over here. Yay, I finally got one I match. This one, he said, of course, because we don't like to be invited to the parties. we don't want to feel left out, but you know what I mean? An introvert would rather not have to go to the Christmas party and the office party and your coworkers' dogs party or whatever people have going on. You know, we'd rather just say, I think I'll sit this one out and, you know, stay home. So that's very easy if you're invited, you know, to barbecues, if you're invited out just to, you know, eating's a huge thing. Go out to lunch, go out to dinner with your friends, you know, any celebrations involve food. And so if you're introverted, that's not a big issue for you, which is good. Yay, for me. He says disagreeable is a good personality trait. The reason again is if you're over here and someone, you know, your grandmom's saying, come on, hon, have some of my pie. I made it just for you. This person's going to go, well, okay, I suppose a piece won't hurt. And grandma made it for me. But this person over here will say, sorry, grandma, it doesn't, you know, that's going to make me sick. It's going to make me fat. I can't have it. I'm going to be very direct. And basically these people, they don't care what you say, what other people say about them. They're just going to go straight ahead. Whereas these people, they want to be more, you know, agreeable. And the last one over here is calmness, which Dr. Lyle says is a good trait. because if you are calm, nothing bothers you. Every day is just, it's sunny. That's nice. It's rainy. That's nice. I got an accident. Oh, well, like I'm still alive. Whereas the person over here would be, I was going to go for a walk and now it's raining and I can't stand it. And then this person gets an accident. They're like, oh my God, my car is totaled and I don't have enough insurance to cover it. And what am I going to do? Right? They'll be very emotional about it. So he said, this one is very good because for a lot of people, things trigger us, emotionally. When we're having upsets and we want to go back to the comfort we know, with regards to food or, our old lifestyle. When you're trying to change your lifestyle and something tragic happens or unexpected, these people are more likely to keep with their program. They'll say, well, that happened, but I'm still going to eat my eat on program today. Okay, so those are the big 5 personality traits. And as you can see for me, introversion and openness are very on the side. The other ones I'm kind of in the middle. And this is the only one that's really positive. Except again, according to the tests I take, they do say that I'm calm, which is interesting. Because I don't always feel that. But like I said, in the general big picture of life, I do. It's like, there's nothing serious going on here. So anyway, Dr. Lyle, he goes into more detail about, so if you're like this one, if I'm over here and I don't like the rules, I don't like preparing things, I don't like having set times where it's like, oh, I have to eat now because it's 5 and then I can't eat past 7. Or another thing with these people is measurements. A lot of diet things have measurements. You can have 5 ounces of this or half a cup of that. And that doesn't work for people who are over here. They're like, no. It's like, or, it's like me. I'll be like, half a cup. Okay, just a little more. It'll be overflowing. So for example, if you are this person, what you could do, he says, is hire someone or get a friend involved that could help you prepare the meals. And he does talk about, people would balk about the cost. They'll say, well, I don't have the money for that. And he says some people, though, he gives an example, is like, well, maybe you're going out to eat a lot, though, because you don't like preparing your food. And I don't like going out to eat to restaurants, but I do. One of my problems is buying prepared food because I am not a big cook. And so that's something I'm thinking of now is imagine if I used that money that I would have used on preparing, buying the prepaid food, the, stuff you get at the supermarkets, like the bentos and stuff. There's so many of them. What if I paid for someone to do that? I'd be spending maybe the same amount of money. So, I mean, that's just an example of something to think of, to keep on track, to use, to know your personality trait, to know who you are. And then if you're not in line with these things, then to find a way. Not, of course, like I said, we're not changing our personality because generally I don't think you can do that. I'm never going to become an extroverted person. I can't imagine that. So the thing is to figure out what you can do to support yourself. And that would be a whole nother topic. And for everyone, it might be different because, of course, your personality is different and what would work for you depends on your personal situation. But that's it. I just think it's good information to have, to know about, and use that to your advantage as you're changing your lifestyle. All right. So thank you very much. This has been Linda with Sofas Free in Japan. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.